What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast. We talk about how to enhance your relationships and crush those career goals. I'm your host, joined via my cell phone today because my computer wanted to act up. Cameron Lovelace, joined as always by Dr. Sarah Lee Benson. What's going on, Sarah?
I am pretty tired. It's
Mhm.
been a very active past 3 days. I think quarantine, honestly, I think what it is quarantine has spoiled me um, from having to physically in certain spaces and do certain things. I think I've gotten used to just being on my computer. And so, yeah, I'm pretty tired. We are back in summer training for my job. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to today and yesterday and the day before. How about you?
So I too had to go into the office like yesterday. We had my so first of all, shout out to good leadership. To make a long story short, my the owner of the practice that I works at, he basically asked me and another African American employee to kind of make a presentation to kind of address like kind of what's been going on and basically what we can do systematically as a practice to kind of impact change and go about helping that. And so we did that in person yesterday. So I had to actually leave my house and go to the office instead of us doing the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
But it was good. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm in. I'm not emotionally tired from that. That actually was kind of energizing. But I do think that a lot of people are feeling like you as far as I know last week we talked about it's the halfway point, but it's still tired. It's
Yeah,
still,
it, it is. It's the going back. I think it's the going back to work piece that's tiring. And also the fact that I wore the wrong shoes today and I had to stand up like all day. And so I was telling one of our team leaders, I was like, girl, I don't know how I survived teaching, like teaching those 3 hour classes that I would teach. I don't know how I survived it because like today it's just been a lot. But I think people are tired because I think we kind of got settled into quarantine, and I think a lot of people are still settling in because I'm seeing so many people post about what their jobs are doing for the fall. And so, like one of my Facebook friends, she said that at first they were like, "We're coming back for Labor Day," but then she posted today and said that now they're talking about January. And so, I think many of us are just getting used to being quarantined and being in our house. And so, when we have to physically go places, it's tiring. And like for us, we had to completely change how we do summer training. Like the whole format, because typically we're in person, we have at least 80 to 100 people. We split them up in big, sizable groups, right? At least like 20 people in a group, and we do small groups, and like the people transition from like space to space. Can't do that this year because we have all these guidelines. And so now we're in like super duper small. There are like multiple sessions. And instead of the people moving out of their room, the instructors, we move. So I'm like doing a lesson. Yeah, that's the other piece of this. So it's like I would do my lesson. Excuse me. I would do my lesson. Last 5 minutes, pack up everything, exit out of everything, and walk to the next room, which the way they had it set up is like normally like it's not like next to each other. And so yeah, it's physically tiring, it's mentally tiring. So yeah, I just feel like I just need to hit a recharge button like that, or I just need like a day where I don't do anything. But and the other
Mhm.
piece of this is I'm also traveling in between all of this. And so yeah, these next few weeks for me is just gonna be go, 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 go.
Right. And so y'all still doing the sessions like in person together and stuff like that?
Yeah, so though for like the next 2 weeks, we have sessions on Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And at least 2 out of the 4, which I think is one this week and one next week, we have to be in the same physical location.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so I'm definitely traveling back and forth for that. So it's like I'm trying to do everything. So be here at
Right.
work and do the things that I need for like my personal life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm pretty tired.
Now let me ask you this, Sarah, because we talked about this before. When's the last time you did your yoga? When's the last time you did your meditation?
Yeah, so I ain't gonna lie, I haven't done yoga since last week, since before I left Texas, so
Mm,
probably like Friday.
mm,
So I'm I have to figure out what my new normal is gonna look like here because I'm having to get up so early in the morning now. Because I would normally do it in the morning because I wouldn't have
yep.
to, do anything till about like 9, 10 o'clock. And so, but now I'm having to get up early, um, and go and do. So I'm gonna have to figure it out. So I just have to figure out when I can do. So it's almost like I'm going back to my old schedule. So
Mm,
before quarantine, I was getting up super duper early, doing everything I had to do. And then I would come home and just kind of try to like unwind. And so it's like I'm having to basically retrain my body to do that because for the past, what's this, July? 5 months, pretty much the past
mm,
4 or 5 months, I haven't had to do that. And so I think my body's like, girl, what are we doing? Why are we up? Like, what's going on here? And so I'm just having to figure out what my new normal is going to be, at least for these next few weeks, until our class is over with. Um, and so I'm figuring it out. I'm really figuring out. Like at this point, I really just be wanting to go to sleep, and that's it. Like I just and you know what is interesting though? I was talking to a few of my coworkers today, and they both basically said the same thing. They were like, these past few days have been a lot adjusting because we've been at home. And so it's like I'm getting home and like they're all tired. Like everybody's tired. Everybody's, trying to figure out how to um get through this. I needed a nap today at about 12 o'clock. I promise, Cam, I promise you, if somebody would have brought a bed, not even a bed,
mm,
they would, because listen, I grew up in the country, I'd make a pallet on the floor. If somebody would have gave me some cover and some pillows, I probably would have laid out on the floor. It took a
mm.
nap because I just had the urge to take a nap. And so I'm learning. I'm figuring out what that's going to look like. Definitely trying to make sure I practice my self care in the midst of this because it can be really stressful. I haven't felt like this since I was in school and trying to do everything in the world.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Big facts, big facts. But yeah, and I think we all are kind of, as the world is trying to figure out, okay, are we going back to work? We're not going back to work. Sometimes we go out, sometimes we stay in. What? Okay, maybe like our bodies have been adjusted to staying still.
Yeah.
Yep, our bodies have grown adjusted to staying still, and we've been talking about it on this podcast about things to do, but when it's time to apply it, it's a little bit harder to really get into. And I know I personally, uh, so I'm a night owl by nature.
Yeah.
So I like to stay up till whenever, just and not even necessarily staying up doing stuff. Like sometimes I'll be doing something productive, but most of the time it's not. I'll just be, chilling, maybe listening to a podcast or doing something that is semi non-productive or whatever the case may be. But I'll just be up. And then when I wake up, it takes me a couple hours to get my body together to wake it up to actually be productive. And then I'm playing catch up and I haven't even been productive. And here it is like 12 o'clock. And now I got to be productive when I've already lost literally half the day. But I think all of us need to get in a place where we need to reset, but mostly like recharge.
Yeah.
And I think all of us gotta learn how to be disciplined in that area of with since the world has decided, you know what, we're gonna throw something different here. This week we're gonna be open. Next week we're gonna shut down. This week need you to do math. Next week do this. Next week do that. But we got to learn how to like put into practice, like, okay, I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to go out and do it. So for example, this past week, I finally made the decision, not the decision, but I finally took the steps to go ahead and get registered here in Memphis. You know, I said, you know, right. We said that we're gonna,
Look at you.
right. We said that, you know, we want to actually do something about, you know, the climate. So that means I got to take personal responsibility to go get registered. But the thing about that is I had to be disciplined because this is like a week and a half, 2 week process. Why? Because one, I drove up to the driver's place that's closer to my house. Come to find out, that place closed until the 18th.
Oh wow.
Last day to register to vote, I think, is around that time period. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can't wait there. What's the other side of town that, okay, it's about 20 minutes out. I, I don't really want to drive it, but I'll drive out there. Okay. So drive out there, get out there, find out, okay, you're missing some documents. You gotta have this. You can't just bring your driver's license from Mississippi over and we'll just change it over. Nah, it doesn't work like that. We gotta make sure you're a citizen. We gotta make sure all that good stuff. I said, okay, cool. So I gotta call, make sure my documents are together, because even though I've been in this house, my mom still got some of my documents because she's been like, has my safeguard, my documents in the lockbox since I've been in college. Right? Because that's what moms do.
Yeah.
But so I had to arrange to get my documents now that, you know, I have my own house, got my own little lockbox now. So now I got to get those documents. Now, okay, that's been like a week. Now it's time, persevere, and I got to be disciplined. But here's the thing, because I didn't make the adjustment and get up and go right when it opened at 8:30, and I went instead at 10:30, I had to stand in line for 2 hours because they ain't letting everybody in.
Oh,
They
this
ain't
is
letting everybody.
this ain't even getting in the building.
This is in the line before you even get in the building. I was waiting 2 hours. I'm sitting here making phone calls. I'm taking some business calls. You know, I'm checking my emails in the midst of the line. But I got all my documents. But because I did not make the adjustment and say, okay, I can't stay up late tonight because I got to get up and go register. I got to get up at 6 a.m. so I can wake myself up, get breakfast, get my documents together, drive over there, be the first one in line so I can just walk in, you know, tell them A, B, C, D, boom, 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 here's my address, here's my blah, 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 in and out. But no, because I wasn't disciplined and because I did not make the adjustment so that I could properly recharge, I had to take that L, and something that literally took me maybe 10 minutes took me 3 hours.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I will say I'm happy. I'm happy that I went through with it and that I'm officially now registered. But still, now I think the next step for me is to still learn about who all is running for what positions, because I just don't want to waste my vote. Well, not waste my vote, but just blindly throw my vote to the wind.
Yeah. No, I get you definitely on that. So you definitely be an informed voter. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for taking that step, because as somebody who's been through that process before, an easy or fun step. So when I moved to Tulsa 2012, which was election year. And so instead of like trying to go through the process of absentee voting, I went ahead and just switched over. And so that was a long process. And so when I moved back, I needed to switch my driver's license and stuff over, which was another long process.
Right.
And every time we go to the DMV, it's a long process. So I'm proud of you for doing that. I think that's a really great thing that that's a great goal that you've accomplished, especially trying to vote, because, you know, it is election year. Every vote counts. So yeah, proud of you for that. So even though you did have to wait 3 years, you still got your job. You still got the job done. I already know.
Job done, but yeah, but that those type of situations is so funny because things like that happen to us all the time. You know, we have a
Yeah.
plan. First of all, we have to get within ourselves to say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to go to the gym. I'm ready to start this business. I'm ready to launch this program. I'm ready to start dating. You know, we have to get ourselves in a position where we're okay. Now I'm ready. I'm at the starting line. Okay, I'm ready to go. Then when we get to the starting line, then we find out, okay, the world ain't ready to start when we ready to start.
Yeah.
You still got to do this. Oh, you still got to fill out your sole proprietorship, your LLC. Oh, wait, you still got to have a process to launch the program, let people know. Oh, wait, before you get into the relationship, okay, you need to cut off your other joints. You know what I'm saying? But you know, before you say that you're ready, the world has to say, okay, wait, we ain't ready yet. But
Yeah.
but because we aren't disciplined enough, and because we haven't prepared. So what everybody that's listening has to realize is that even though you might be ready, or you might be saying, okay, I'm going to do this, you got to make sure that the situation is right, like the time is right for you to launch and to really jump into those things that you're trying to jump into.
I agree. I
And
wholeheartedly
you got to
agree.
learn how to, yeah, what you saying?
No, I was gonna say I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like you gotta prepare for these things. I think what messed us up though, I think we think about it so much that we're like, okay, that's my goal. That we don't think about the steps to it. So we don't think about the getting ready piece. And it's like we expect for it to happen, but when it doesn't happen how we want it to happen in that moment, we like give up on it, right? Like, well, we'll push it off. But it's like, no, like you said, like you have to get ready for this. Like if you are really serious about getting this done, you need to prepare for that. Like a lot of these things don't happen overnight. It's very rare that you just walk outside and you just get it.
Right,
No, it don't. And yet we still think that though. Like, that's I
right.
think that's the funny part of it. We know that it doesn't go that way, but then we expect things to go that way for us.
Right. And then on top of that, like you said, when once we get to that place and then we find out, okay, no, because you didn't take the steps, some of us just say, okay, I'm out for the day. I'm just not gonna worry about it. I'm
Not
gonna
gonna
just
do
go.
it.
Or
Yeah.
people in my position might say, okay, I'm just gonna vote in Mississippi. Don't worry.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna try.
I'm just not even gonna try. So a person in my situation would have said, you know what, I'm gonna just try again tomorrow, or I'm gonna just try again next week. And
Yeah,
then
and then end
fast
up going to
forward,
the
you missed a whole Shelby County Memphis election. Now you gotta go, now you have to go vote in DeSoto County. Fast forward to November, you say, "Oh snap, I gotta go vote. I didn't move my client load around. I didn't move my caseload. I didn't move this. Hey boss man, can I go vote?" No, you can't go vote because you still got stuff to do. You didn't make. You should have done that ahead of time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so when we get to the situation, because we, like you said, we didn't prepare, we didn't do that, we got to take the L.
Yeah. You do.
But but the thing about taking the L is we also got to take the other L with it. As my coach says, you got to take the lesson with the loss.
Yeah.
Don't just keep taking losses without learning the lesson.
I agree with you on that. But the thing about it is, we have to get in the position where we see the lessons in the losses. Because sometimes we'll only focus on the loss and the
Mm-hmm.
negative things, and oh, I lost it, I this. When really you need to be focusing on like, what can I learn from this? What do I need to do to not be back in this position? Right? Like, what can I do different? You know, and that takes a level of awareness and just um the desire to want to be better, to
Mm-hmm.
do that, to recognize your lessons in all of this.
That's true. But so some areas it's easier to make that adjustment than others. So
That's
like for
true.
example, let's circle back to the core four. You know, your physical, your mindset, relational, and your financial. So so first of all, my grandfather, my mom's dad, uh, he always said his famous saying is box sense is the best sense, which basically
Box
means
presence.
bought sense is the best sense because you learn from those lessons that cost you something.
That is true.
But I was saying that, you know, when we talk to our high school clients and we talk to those clients, especially the clients that are younger than us, you know, and we tell them, you know, you need to do this, do that, da 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 da. Then they decide, okay, I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm not gonna use wisdom. I'm gonna use bought sense, and I'm gonna have to pay for this lesson the hard way or with my own experience. But you know, when we break down the core four, and we say, okay, the physical lesson, the physical loss might be a, you know, I gained X amount of pounds because if you're like me and you eat Oreos at, you know, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, you know, that sugar is gonna compound in your body, and that's gonna sit on your stomach, especially if you're a guy. It's gonna sit on your stomach, and then your wife's gonna be looking at you crazy because you passing gas in the morning because your body is saying, hey, those Oreos, they ain't really agree with you, my brother. And so that's what I'm saying. You might take a loss there. And so but if I don't take the lesson and say, okay, maybe, okay, let me ease off. Let me eat the Oreos earlier in the day. Let me make sure I got a workout in. Let me make sure I'm getting my veggies with that, so I'm regular. You know what I'm saying? So I can get that flatulence out, or the mindset. Or if I'm saying that, you know what, I have not taken the time to practice my meditation, take time out for prayer, to listen to my podcast, to get my mind right before I step into it. Make sure that my energy is up, like mentally, not just physically. Financially, if I'm saying, okay, because, and watch this, let's say that because I'm going back to work and I did not prepare lunch, so now I'm spending food that's out there. So
Yeah.
so now I'm burning a hole in my wallet because I didn't make the adjustment. I didn't make the lesson to say, okay, let me still, you know, prepare my lunch so I can continue to save money that I've been saving since I've been in quarantine. And of course, relationally, you you really don't you that's a really struggle area for a lot of people, is because when
Yeah.
something doesn't work or something between you and another person is not working, you got to take ownership of that and say, okay, what is it that I can do? Like you said, Sarah, you said that, you know, you got to be in a mental place to see that, okay, I need to take, not just focus on the loss, not focus on the tragedy, not focus on the bad negative feelings with it, but I got to make the adjustment. Okay, I don't want this to happen again, like, or else it's going to continue to happen over and over and over, and take ownership of it and say that I'm going to take this loss, I'm going to take this lesson
Yeah.
with this loss.
The
So
lesson.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I agree with you. You definitely have to be in the mental space to do that, because some people don't want to see the lessons, you know what I mean? And thinking about like the whole bot, since I used to be that person, I was that person that I need to learn for myself. I don't care what you tell me or what people do. I need to learn for myself. But as I've gotten older, I realized that, you know, it's some stuff that you don't got to go through. Like, it's some stuff you don't have to deal with. Like, just listen to the people who've been there, you know, take that and, you know, apply that to your life. It will help you in the long run. You'll save so much time, money, all of it. Because trust me, if I would have listened to people or even really listened to God, I would have avoided a lot of stuff. I mean, I got some good lessons, but I would have avoided some stuff I really didn't have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you.
It's a big fact, but it, it's so simple, but it's so complicated at the same time. Because I mean, like if we want to break down the psychology of it, you know, the brain doesn't fully develop really until a later age in life. But when we're younger, when we are, you know, going through our go through at a young age, we tend to focus on the wrong things, and we tend to focus on, you know, just the people, the person, the situation, instead of, how do I keep this from happening again? I don't know, I just found it so crazy. I don't know why it is that we're human. Maybe that's just how God just wants us to be designed, just so we can go through that period of, you know, bought sense, paying for it.
Yeah, paying
I don't
for it.
know. But
Yeah.
but
Um,
Sarah, but before we hop off here, because I don't know how long this Wi-Fi is going to act right, I did want to acknowledge. I kind of wanted to say, I saw your post. I think it was yesterday.
which one?
Wanted to tell the people about, you know, what the anniversary of, you know, the
Oh
significance
yeah,
of this week.
yeah.
made a little situation that, I mean, since we going there with God, I think we should, give God his props.
Yeah.
But I'll let you get into it.
Yeah, so yesterday, July 7th, was the 19-year anniversary of a very horrific car wreck me and my family were in. So July 7th, 2001, we were on our way to Oklahoma City for a family reunion. It was my entire family, me, my mom, my dad, and my three brothers. And we had just got a new car like 2 weeks before. And the back axle broke, and our car rolled 5 times. And so I think they said the first time it rolled, I was thrown out the car. The second time it rolled, my middle brother. Third time, my baby brother. And then it rolled 2 more times, and my older brother, and my parents were kind of pinned in the car because they had on their seatbelts. We didn't have on our seatbelts, which this was one of the few times where not seatbelt worked in our benefit, because according to the doctors, because the way the car rolled, if we would have had our seatbelts on, we would have been crushed. And so I remember that day very clearly. Like, the only thing I remember about the actual crash was because I was sleeping. And so, because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I remember like a twist, a turn, and then a roll, and then I blacked out. And so when I woke up like maybe a few minutes after everything had settled, because I remember like waking up, I remember walking and then falling. I remember my mom, like, I remember my big brother, like, crawling out of the car, because I was 11. And so if I was 11, Tony was, he was 8. And so I remember my big brother, like, he was able to crawl out of the car. So he went and picked up my brothers, because one brother was in the road. Another brother yeah, Benny was 4. My other brother was 8. And so he got us and put us together. And so I remember my mom. And so by that time, like, people started showing up. And so I remember one thing I did remember, and which is why I posted the picture, my leg, because I remember the cop had a flashlight, and he was like, I guess, because it's dark outside, so he was flashing. And I remember him putting it on my leg, and all he said was, "Oh my God," because I didn't realize that you could see the bone. That's how deep that gash was. Like, you could see my bone. And all I remember saying was, "Oh my God." And because my face was swollen, so like my right side the left side of my face, like whenever I would look down, my eyes would close. So I really couldn't see anything. But I just, like, I remember, it's a little crazy that I remember all this stuff. And so by that time the ambulance came, they put me and my younger brother, my middle brother, in the car, in the ambulance together. They put my dad and my older brother, and then my mom and my baby brother. And so I remember the paramedics asking questions, and I answered them because they were trying to keep my brother up, because he was trying to go to sleep because he was tired. He hit his head. And so they were like trying to keep him up and like all these things. And so I ended up having surgery. I had to get stitches in 7 different places. And so I don't know if people noticed, but like on both of my legs, on the left side of me, I have what they call road rash of my leg. So it starts at my ankle and goes all the way up. And that's because I had on shorts. And so when I was thrown out the car, I like skidded across the concrete. This is getting so graphic. I'm sorry, y'all. This is getting so graphic. But from that, so I was in the hospital for a week. And so the entire time I was in the hospital, my brother was in ICU. And so one of the reasons why, so I actually give to the Ronald McDonald House because we had to live in one, because my brother was still in the hospital. So we were able to move into a Ronald McDonald House. The people so this happened in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And so that's where we were. And so that's why we had to stay in a Ronald McDonald House for about a week until my brother could be discharged. I used to have to walk around with a walker because I had to learn how to walk again. Then, to make matters even worse, I ended up getting that scar. So the surgeon who did my surgery, he didn't do my stitch correctly. So when I got home to Mississippi, it popped open. Right. And so can you imagine being an 11-year-old about to start sixth grade and you have a literal hole in your leg and you walk?
Yeah.
And so I started middle school thinking about that now. I started middle school with a hole in my leg,
Mm-hmm.
scars, and a limp. And I remember my mom, because they had like your meet your teachers night, and she would tell all my teachers, she was like, "Hey, we were in a very bad car wreck. My daughter has a limp. She walks a little bit slower. She may be a little, she won't be as fast as the other students because we were transitioning classes." And one of my teachers was like, "She walks from there to here." Miss Brooks, I'll never forget that lady. She's a mean old black lady. She pointed to the classroom and pointed to her. She was like, "She should be fine." And my mama, I don't think I've ever seen my mama as mad. Like to this day, I'm pretty sure if I asked my mama, she would be like, "Yeah, I did not like that lady," because my mom's like, she's a little kid. She's 11. Like, give her, cut her a break. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so, but we had to learn all of these things. So we all had to learn how to walk again. We all had to go through that. And so I have to give a shout out to God because we could have lost our life. Like if we would have wore seatbelts, I would not be here. Like me and my brothers would not be here. And so to look back on that and just realize like, wow, it's been 19 years and like God has done so many great things for me. It's just my life since then. Like I'm a whole doctor. Like there would be none of this if we weren't here. So shout out to the Lord. But I was telling my success coaches yesterday that I always look at my scars as just a reminder of His grace, because people always say like, "Oh, I could have got a skin graft. I could get them covered." For years, my family would ask me if I wanted to get them covered, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna keep them the way that they are, because they're just reminders of just how great God has been to me." And it's so like it's become so much of me that I forget that they're there. Like people will ask me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got these scars." Like one of my little cousins asked me a few weeks ago. He was like, I could tell he was nervous because I guess they don't want to offend me.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, how you get that scar on your leg? And I always tell him, like, I have no problem talking about it because people stare anyway. So I'll tell y'all what
Yeah.
happened. So, but yeah, shout out to the Lord for that one.
Big facts. Big facts. And let me ask you this, because I'm sure that because your mindset towards it is not like you said, another person who went through that might be trying to just cover it up and like forget about that day and never have a completely different mindset shift toward that whole situation. But what you did, you said, you know what, I'm going to keep these scars and I'm going to remember this moment and I'm going to use this test as a testimony for it
Mm-hmm.
to tell people about how God's grace not only, saved my whole family. So I'm going to use this as proof to do that. But the follow-up question is, I'm sure that every year that you've experienced that or every year that you reflect on this, you probably learn a different lesson.
Yeah.
And so my question is kind of what's the lesson this year that maybe you could take away from either a moment like that or from that particular moment that you've applied to kind of who you are?
The lesson that I take away this year is to celebrate life. That
Mm,
life is so short.
especially this year.
I think the reason why I get that is because of what 2020 has been. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
if anything, 2020 has just reminded us just how short life is and just our mortality. And so it's really just to celebrate life. The life is so short. Um, and that it can be taken from you so quickly. So just celebrate while you're here. Like be happy. You know, I don't have to stress out about everything. Like I can enjoy life. So just
Right.
enjoy it. Um, yeah, just enjoy life.
I agree. I think that's great because we got it. I mean, because I say 2020 has been on the first half, going back to last week's podcast. It's been a little stressful, and
Yeah.
they trying to make it a little more complicated now with the different things happening on in the world. We're not gonna get into that, but you still got to learn how to celebrate life. You still got to learn how to take your lady, take your boo, take your husband, take your boyfriend. You still got to learn how to celebrate the small moments in life. You still got
Yeah.
to learn how to celebrate the small wins that you're having. The fact that you are still healthy, wealthy, alive, and still breathing on this earth is something still to celebrate. So even though some people took it a little bit extreme, especially in Atlanta, to celebrate the 4th of July. But we're not gonna talk about that in this podcast.
Right.
But you still gotta learn how to celebrate life and celebrate the small wins. So I love that. But before this Wi-Fi goes out, we're gonna go ahead and close it out. But right, because I don't know what's gonna happen with this Wi-Fi. Like I said, we might have to just start playing. I hope. Well, never mind. I don't know what's gonna happen with this Corona, because up is down, is all the way around. So it might be a while. Yeah, it might be a while. It might be a while before we get a live studio session where both of us are in the same room. But I'm gonna have to call Xfinity and figure this out. But
yeah, I got you.
But nevertheless, keep an eye out for upcoming announcements. We got some big things planned for August and beyond. So those of you who are loyal listeners, make sure you keep an eye out for announcements that are coming in the near future. We've got a lot of exciting things coming. Hope you guys stayed safe this weekend.
Please
Practice
stay safe, y'all.
practice social distancing, even though distancing.
Yeah,
Distancing. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. First of all, right. First, and hold on, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the podcast, but am I tripping, or did everybody just get a buy one get 100 fireworks for free this past 4th of July? And it sounds like, yeah, there it goes right there. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a break there because Sarah has been cut off. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a break. We're gonna go ahead and call it there. Catch us every Thursday. Give us that 5-star review on iTunes, and keep chasing your version of the good life until you can make it a reality. Until then, we'll see you next week.